Yes, people, and welcome back to Punches and Pundits. Now, before we start the episode, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you are watching on YouTube. And if you are listening to us on any audio platforms, Spotify and Apple Podcasts, make sure to download the episodes and let us know what you guys think on our social media platforms. Now, couple hours ago, I was gonna say last night, literally couple hours ago, UFC 309 went down in Madison Square Garden, our yearly New York event, and it was the GOAT going up against Stipe Miocic. And Mo, I'll let you chime in straight away. What did you think of John Jones's
Now
performance?
listen, you know me, big John Jones fan, and I've been getting a lot of hate recently for defending John Jones. I don't really understand why. But listen, you've only got to watch and see this guy. Look at his performance last night. And I just think with as he gets on at heavyweight in the heavyweight division, he's just getting more comfortable. He looked lean and he looked on point. He's not the quickest, but he looked a lot quicker in this fight compared to the Cyril Gane fight. But listen, he completely dominated Stipe. People are gonna obviously mention Stipe's age, saying he's 42 years old, saying he's past it. But listen, it was a very, very good performance. That first round, the way he dominated him, that trip to get him down, the ground and pound, he looked good on the feet. His defense was on point, and he stopped him to the body. Now, listen, we know what fight has to happen next. It was good that Dana White came out after the fight and dismissed the Pereira fight, saying, listen, Pereira doesn't really have a chance. He's too small, which is true. We need to see that Aspinall fight. And I just think Jones is in a much better position now going into that Aspinall fight compared to before. With that performance, with that confidence going into the Aspinall fight, I think he's ready for the fight. And listen, I think he beats Aspinall.
The truth is, I feel like throughout the previews and the build up to this fight, my thing was the sample size that we had with John Jones, because his fight against Cyril Gane was so quick that we didn't really know, like, Cyril Gane obviously has deficiencies in his wrestling, and that was shown, but we didn't know how John Jones would look over 5 minutes, over 10 minutes, over 15 minutes, right? And you're right. What stood out to me immediately, right, in the first round, the takedown, the trip was, regardless of what age Stipe is, this is not a hard man to, this is a hard man to take down. He might be 42, 52, 62. This guy's not easy to take down, right? Solid wrestler throughout his career.
I mean, you saw it in the DC fight, him and DC.
Exactly.
DC
nullified each other's wrestling.
DC's an Olympic level wrestler, Olympic level,
Yeah.
and he did not find it easy to take Stipe down. Stipe can wrestle, and Jones did not struggle to take him down and held him down. Stipe's not the easiest to hold down as well.
Yeah.
Listen, I mean, we can talk about the Stipe fight. It was a good performance. Stipe tried, but I mean, listen, I think he knew going into this fight, win or lose, he was going to retire. But I just think now, looking at that fight, you cannot look at me and say Aspinall beats John Jones easily. A lot of people are just saying, oh, Aspinall is going to beat him, Aspinall this, Aspinall that. You could even argue Jones's win over Stipe, even though Stipe's past it, is better than any of Aspinall's wins at heavyweight. There's an argument there. Which one of Aspinall's wins at heavyweight is better than Jones's win over Stipe?
Considering the circumstances and whatnot, and where Pavlovich was at that stage, he was knocking out everyone. He knocked out Curtis Blades. He knocked out basically anyone in front of him, right? And it was on short notice. He was basically injured and he knocked him out.
But there's an argument there because I know it was 4 years ago, but before that Ngannou loss, Stipe was coming off 2 wins against DC. And before that, he was on a crazy run. So there's an argument there that Jones's win over Stipe is better than any of Aspinall's wins. The Pavlovich win, is a good mention. Pavlovich was on a great run prior to losing to Aspinall. But listen, this is the fight we have to see. And I just keep saying Jones is a problem. And I mean, you mentioned it just now. You said Jones, when he gets in that cage, he turns into a completely different person.
The ground and pound from the get-go. And Miocic had no answer for it. He got beat up for the best part of the first round. And man, it was like, that's the John Jones, that's my GOAT. That's the John Jones I remember. That's the John Jones that I saw growing up. Just nasty. He's up there. I don't know what it is, but when the cage door closes, he wants to hurt you. And those elbows, now you got the 12-6 as well. You didn't really get off too many 12-6s. Maybe once or twice. But he wanted to hurt Stipe, right? And
he still has that athleticism as well at heavyweight. He's coming in a lot heavier and he's throwing those kicks. I mean, the kick he stopped Stipe with.
Oh, it's beautiful.
You've got to be athletic to throw that kind of kick. Who else is throwing that kick at heavyweight? A bar from, I mean, Cyril Gane will probably do it as well.
Yeah.
Him and Cyril Gane, you could say, are the only guys at heavyweight right now that have the athleticism to throw those kind of kicks.
Yeah.
And Jones is a problem. Jones is a big, big problem. And I look at the Aspinall fight, and I think the way Jones has to wrestle. Listen, he can't strike with him for 5 rounds, but I don't think he could have struck with Stipe for 5 rounds either. You know, he's got to mix it up, and nobody mixes it up better than John Jones.
The thing is, what I will say is, Stipe managed to touch Jones not too many times, but through blitzing, right? He'd managed to land a punch here and there, not to hurt, not to the extent of hurting Jones. But what I will say is, if he fought an Aspinall, the speed increase, and Aspinall would be harder to hit than a tired 42-year-old Miocic who can't really get out the way. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So the speed difference in that matchup would be a real, topic of conversation, because Aspinall, younger, faster, but like you said, and you got some slack for it, after watching yesterday, seeing the sample size, seeing John Jones at heavyweight again, not just the Cyril Gane fight, I agree with you. I think John Jones would take Aspinall down at some point.
It's about...
he would take him down. Could he keep him down? Could he land the same type of ground and pound that he landed yesterday on him? And could Aspinall keep it on the feet, maybe stuff a few of those takedowns? And when it comes down to the striking exchanges, be so much faster than Jones to the point where maybe he has to panic wrestle. Those are the type of questions that we need to be answered, and hence why. And also, I have a bone to pick, yeah, because oh my goodness, Joe Rogan, when he gave the mic to John Jones, why was he mentioning the Alex Pereira fight every 2 minutes?
It's crazy, yeah.
Every 2 minutes,
that irritated me as well.
He hardly mentioned Tom. He was like, oh yeah, the Poatan fight.
Tom should have come in. Tom should have come in.
I mean, listen, it's easy money for Jones. Like, it literally...
The guy was a middleweight. The guy was a middleweight at one point.
He would take Alex Pereira down. And even Dana White said...
That's a one-round job. As good as Pereira is...
It would be similar to the...
That is a one-round job.
It would be similar to the Cyril Gane fight, honestly. That's how it would go.
I think it'd be even worse than that. I think he'd take him down with ease and submit him straight away. Come on, man.
Yeah.
This is John Jones.
And Dana's agreeing. Like, he said, after watching yesterday, John Jones at heavyweight is an elite wrestler against someone who was the middleweight champion. I know he's gone up and stuff, yeah. And obviously Jones would have to, if they fought, he would have to factor in the striking. Of course he would. But he would manage to get a takedown, and I don't think Alex Pereira would be able to get up from a John Jones takedown. No way.
There's no chance. Like, Pereira should stay at light heavyweight. He's having a lot of success there. Stay away from Jones. You don't want those problems. Have a legacy at light heavyweight. But back on Aspinall as well, you said there's a few question marks regarding the fight. I mean, both ways. But another question mark is, I mean, we both agree that Aspinall will get taken down at some point. Can Aspinall keep getting back up? And can Aspinall...
The
cardio. We need... That's a big question mark, in my opinion, because we've never seen him go 2 rounds. Listen, he's been very good. He's been knocking everybody out. But have we seen him go into a 3rd round, go into the 4th round, where the fight's back and forth, where... You know, you've got to dig deep. We've seen John Jones do it. John Jones made a career out of doing that. He can dig deep. We have not yet seen Aspinall having to go through a wall where he has to dig deep. John Jones is definitely going to take him deep into the fight, the 4th round, the 5th round.
The thing is,
we need those questions answered.
Yeah, no, I agree. But the thing is, I don't see Tom Aspinall as like this power puncher that drains his gas tank to the point. Like, I guess we haven't seen it, but from what I would expect, he doesn't throw, like, he's fast.
He's not trying to knock you out of every punch.
He's fast and he's accurate. And even those punches, right, they'll put you to sleep. He's not winding up from the hip and, like, if he misses, he's knackered. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So, honestly, I do feel like you're right. 4th, 5th round, there are question marks. But I do think Aspinall... full training camp would have the cardio to fight 25 minutes. I do believe that.
But then again, Jones's defense is very underrated. Even against Stipe, who's of course a lot slower than Aspinall. But Stipe can box. He's got good fundamentals. And he was struggling to land. I mean, the range is so different with Jones. Jones, the way he slips punches, he's got an awkward defense. And
Yeah, he
Listen,
just
don't
got
be
out of the
surprised if
way.
Aspinall struggles to land on Jones. Don't be surprised. Aspinall's quick, but speed means nothing if you can't land. So
I think no, I think he would land on
and Jones as well. Jones has a very good jab as well.
Mm. And the kicks, man.
His kicks are different level.
And
His teep
that's
kicks,
he
oblique
just
kicks.
he just went at the body,
L-
and like it
He'll
was
go
just
for your
one
calf, inside leg kick.
one
He's a
too
freak.
many. And I mean, I said, what did you say prediction wise for this fight?
I said it'd be a third round TKO, but I said it'd be ground and pound.
But you
Yeah.
basically got it.
It wasn't ground and pound. No. I mean,
Well,
to be
when
fair,
it
it
was
was.
announced, it was TKO.
yeah, but to be fair, I got it right, but the finish was a bit different compared to what
I
I thought.
said, I thought
He stopped
to be
him the
to be
body
fair,
and just
I
finished him
thought
off.
it was going to be John Jones winning pretty convincingly over 25 minutes. I didn't see the finish, and John Jones did look better than I expected.
And to be fair, Stipe looked better than I expected as well. I thought I thought Stipe would come in look shocking, but he was all right. He was all right. He done better.
So you're
Maybe-
saying
I thought Stipe would get absolutely steamrolled.
so you're saying Stipe started looking worse past the second round because of the damage. I mean,
I
he
thought
did. He how many elbows did he eat in that first round? He ate some
Yeah,
big
But
elbows.
before Jones took him down, he looked all right on the feet, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He wasn't too bad.
Well,
It's father time, innit? It catches every fight.
yeah, John Jones is talking about. I mean, we need to talk about this. He didn't. John Jones is the GOAT, and we all know this, and he's the best fighter to ever have walked this earth. But I mean, throughout the build-up of this fight, he said some things. I mean, he was saying, "Yeah, a fight with Jamal Hill or Derek Lewis would interest me," and I was like,
I think what he's trying to do is just trying to wind Aspinall up.
Yeah,
trying to get
yeah,
in his
yeah.
head. He spoke about Derek Lewis, Jamal Hill. He's talking nonsense. Yeah, I think
It's negotiation.
I think it's a negotiation tactic. He knows he has the belt. He knows he's bringing more to the table. He knows Aspinall needs to fight Jones. So he's a smart guy. I think he just wants the UFC to pay up a little bit.
they're gonna
If
have
the UFC
to.
put money on the table, that fight is happening.
But
It's John Jones, man.
but they're gonna have to put money on the table
I say
because
no,
the
20
thing is
million, 20 odd million, it'll be happy.
yeah,
with
but
that.
John Jones has the leverage right now.
Of course, he has the belt.
Because they know, right?
Stipe
Because the
win.
whole of the UK, we got a heavyweight champion against the greatest of all time. You know the UK market's going to be through the roof for that. Then you got, Cyril Gane was never... Cyril Gane was, like, his run was good. Like, he beat Derek Lewis to win the interim belt. But Aspinall, I would expect Aspinall to beat Cyril Gane. And it's one of them ones where Aspinall is the real, true... John Jones kept calling him a contender and whatnot. And I get it. He won the interim against Pavlovich and he defended it against Curtis Blades. I mean, those are two people, especially the Blades fight, I thought he was going to steamroll him, which he done. So John Jones would be an exceptional step up for Tom Aspinall. Let's not kid ourselves. It would be a huge step up to anyone he's faced before. But Aspinall has...
It would also be a good win for Jones. You look at Aspinall's record at heavyweight, all the names he's beaten. He's pretty much beaten every contender. If you look at the heavyweight ranking right now, from number 1 to number 10, Aspinall's beaten most of them. I mean, we can go through it. He's beaten everyone. So there's nobody left.
But I told you...
There's nobody left for Aspinall to
I know,
fight.
but I remember us having this conversation. I was like, John Jones is here 1A, and maybe Aspinall's 1B or 1AA. And then there's the rest. Curtis Blades, Pavlovich, whatever, Volkov, Cyril Gane. There's a gulf, in my opinion. So...
Listen, this is... Dana came out and said this would be the biggest fight ever. We've heard him say it a few times now, but this would definitely be the greatest... You could argue it's the greatest heavyweight fight of all time. One of the greatest fights of all time, skill-wise as well, because both are so elite. Both can do it all. Aspinall is this new breed of heavyweight, can strike, can grapple, can do
Just
it
so
all.
fast.
He's a freak. He's a freak. And he's so young as well. So it'd definitely be a tough fight for Jones in terms of heavyweight, who's available.
Yeah,
for him
you would have
fight.
to be locked in.
And it'd be a tough fight for Aspinall as well. Like you said, a step up in competition. But this is the only fight
that makes sense.
that makes sense. I don't want to see anything else. UFC,
Either pay up or let him
pay
retire.
up. Let Jones take it. No, don't even let him retire. We have to see this fight. I don't even want him to retire.
No,
Because if
obviously
he
we don't want
retires-
him to
If
retire.
he
but
retires, Aspinall's going to fight the winner of Volkov and Gane. Like, I don't know.
yeah, and it will be a big what if.
He's going to double.
The
leg-
thing is, John Jones looked too good yesterday
We have to see it.
for him just to leave.
We have to see it. And Aspinall came out as well, said, listen, I've seen John Jones fight for the first time in person. He looks slow. So Aspinall's already looking at that. He's feeling more confident. Jones
Yeah, he feels like
Jones
he
is
can
confident, but he just doesn't want to He wants to just play Aspinall down. You know, you see Pep. If you watch football, you see Pep do it all the time. Do you know what I mean?
Do what?
Play his opponents down and things like that. So
Yeah.
So Aspinall's just, I mean, Joe's just doing the same thing. But listen, this is the only fight. Nothing else makes sense.
To be fair, like, what doesn't make sense to me, Topuria beats Holloway, and then Volkanovski gets to go in when realistically, Aspinall's the interim champion. When you're the interim, you unify the belt. Like this is the fact.
Every time there's been an interim champion, they've always fought for the belt next.
It's because John Jones just probably was adamant, like, there's no way this guy's getting in the cage. I'm not giving him that moment. And Aspinall, just bide your time. Honestly, just bide your time to the point where, like, I was surprised John Jones said, I'm not retiring in his post-fight thing.
He wants it. He just wants the UFC to pay.
They're going to have to pay up.
He wants it.
But, and also a word on Stipe, because obviously he retired. Hall of Famer, great career. It's just 42 years old.
Respect to Stipe as well. We need to show him some respect. You're right.
Top guy, top fighter.
Great guy,
It's given us some crazy ass fights. The fights with DC, the fights.
And listen, to come back after 4 years, your first fight after a knockout loss to fight Jones, you have to commend that as well. He could have come back and just fought a contender. You know, you could have fought a Derek Lewis or something like that. No, I don't want to say warm up fight, but an easier opponent to get him ready. But listen,
but when you've been
straight into the fire,
when you're arguably the best heavyweight of all time, you don't go into warm up fights like that.
No, but you have to respect it. Coming off a knockout loss, straight into the fire. Respect to Stipe Miocic, and listen, Hall of Famer, great guy, and good luck to him.
Right, and now we move on to the fight. I mean, I've got a lot to say. You know, Charles is my guy, and honestly, okay, Charles yesterday is the best version of Charles I've ever seen. Let me explain why. Because we've seen him be the berserker. We were talking like, if they're crashing, if it's a car crash of a fight, Charles is that guy, right? But yesterday, I mean, first of all, Chandler had no answer for Oliveira's wrestling, which was surprising.
You think Chandler would be the better wrestler?
Pure wrestler.
D1, innit?
Pure wrestler,
exactly.
You would say, surely Chandler would be able to get back onto his feet. Yeah. And from the first round, Oliveira took him down, held him down, wasn't able to do anything. And for the 3 rounds that followed the first round, it was a clinic. Managed to take him down, hold him down, land elbows, and even in the striking exchanges, Chandler ate some, that big knee. He ate some serious shots, yeah? Oliveira, and this is the first time he's ever gone past the 4th round. He's been in the UFC for how long? And he's never reached the 4th round.
It's crazy.
It's wild. And it's not one of them because it was a snooze fest. He just fought smart. He fought tactical, right? And he used his wrestling, and he was kind of, if we're just talking about his wrestling performance, it was almost reminiscent to his fight with Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson had absolutely no answer for Charles Oliveira's wrestling.
You could tell he's been working on his wrestling. He's always been a decent wrestler.
And being patient.
But it's the fact that I think the Sarukian loss and the Makhachev loss, where they're both very good wrestlers, you could say the best wrestlers in the in lightweight, even the UFC. You could tell he's been putting hours in the gym working on his wrestling because of those 2 losses. Now, you're saying it was a very good performance. It was a good performance, but you saw what happened towards the end of the fight, the 5th round. He still won. But, you know, when Charles gets a bit too comfortable, he kind of let Chandler get back into the fight. Does that give you confidence going into a potential rematch with Makhachev or a title fight with Sarukian if Sarukian beats Makhachev?
Regardless, there's not a lightweight on this planet that would go in favor against Islam, right? So that's the facts. Sarukian, even the Charles that fought him last time round at UFC 300, that wasn't a great Charles. I thought that was it wasn't a great performance. He nearly finished him, but yesterday was a much better Charles, right? So if he was to fight Arman again, I think he would get it done. Yeah.
Submission, how do you think he gets it done? Striking, a knockout win, a submission win? Because Arman will get him down at some point. Is it a case where Oliveira gets him
but
off
this
his
is
back?
the thing. I think, what if Charles felt like he could wrestle him? Because the thing is,
that's not a good idea though. Against Sarukian.
You think there's that big of a gulf in just
I think
offensive.
I saw Sarukian against Makachev. Their scrambles were high level. I do not think Oliveira should go in with a wrestling approach.
No. I'm not saying
against
with a
Sarukian.
wrestling approach, but I'm saying not to the point where like he doesn't mix it up or he completely negates it because. And then he's comfortable off his back. I wouldn't say that.
I just think he needs to be a lot more offensive off his back if he gets taken down by Sarukian. He can stuff the takedowns. He's got decent takedown defense.
But to be fair,
he needs to be a lot more. He can't just lie back and
to be fair, right?
Lackadaisical.
To be fair, right? I do expect Islam to win.
To be
yeah. So
I think that fight's closer than people think. You know.
Well, it's going to be announced. It's
think
going to be in the new arena. In the new arena in LA.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be wild. But back to Charles.
What would you say? What would you say is next for Charles now? Because the Sarukian Makachev fight will happen.
Yeah.
Of course, then
it doesn't make sense for him to have another.
No, but if Makachev wins, it's going to be Ramadan. Makachev doesn't fight during Ramadan, so you're looking at a potential return in the summer, maybe June, July, August.
Yeah.
Do you think Oliveira should wait for the winner? We're assuming Makachev wins, of course. Sarukian's good. Would you say Oliveira should wait until the summer, or should he fight? I don't know, another contender. I don't know, maybe a McGregor or Holloway. Holloway
yeah,
called
for
him out the other
BMF.
day. That's not really smart though. Holloway will be a barn burner, probably a 5-round war.
Yeah,
and he may take some injuries and lose.
I
another
think, regardless, yeah, this would be Charles's last opportunity to go for a title.
Oliveira?
35.
He's still alright.
Yeah, but if I'm him, and people keep forgetting, he was booked to fight Makachev again, right?
Yeah.
There was enough hype after he knocked out Dariush for them to be okay with booking it again after one win, right? After one win,
it's his body of work in it. It's like Poirier, Gaethje, Dariush.
Yeah, and
now you add Chandler times 2.
And his losses. Okay, he lost the belt to Islam. That was a convincing win for Islam.
Sarukian
that was a terrible version of Charles.
Against
but
what? For the Sarukian?
No, against Islam.
Makachev.
But against the Sarukian, he didn't get knocked out or submitted. And I'll get Joe Rogan on the broadcast said that he thought that Charles won. He thought that he won the first and the third, and there was arguments for that. He nearly finished him. So I don't feel like Charles lost that much stock that a good win would put him right back in there. You got Makachev saying, listen, someone looks convincing, might entice me. And I'm sorry, I know what you're saying about the last round and what. Charles looked excellent against a really dangerous guy, yeah? Whatever you say about Chandler is dangerous, right? He throws bombs and in whatever fights, in the build-up to whatever
was he not the same, though? You know how I mentioned going into the fight, Chandler's just, we know what he's going to do.
He wasn't as much of a berserker yesterday.
And
that's because Charles, and that's maybe a knock on Chandler as well, because whenever there's a countdown or whenever they talk about his fights, it's about his wrestling. Chandler was like, good American wrestling would negate the Sambo of the Dagestanis. After we saw yesterday,
Oliveira taking him down. Yeah.
Islam would eat him. He would eat him up. So
probably.
Charles, I mean, like I said, Charles against Tony Ferguson back in the day. Charles yesterday. Charles is and he's strong, man. Charles is strong. He's a strong dude. And I know that
he's quick as well. He's rapid, like with his strikes as well. I was watching the way
he took some smacks. And talking of smacks, what's Keith Peterson doing? How many shots to the back of the head did Charles have to eat? You know, if that fight if Charles would have got knocked out by that, I would have bugged out because he ate how many 17 unanswered shots to the back of the head, and Keith Peterson, no nonsense, he's just looking there zoning out.
Yeah, but talking of that fact, we can both now agree Oliveira should get a title shot. Oliveira should get his title shot. Maybe a hooker in between or pull away. But wait out, get your title shot. But where does Chandler go from here? Because this guy was scheduled to fight McGregor. McGregor ain't fighting. Now he's fought Oliveira, he's lost. That's his whole game plan's gone out the window now. He wanted to fight Oliveira, then fight for the belt, then fight McGregor. He wanted to fight Holloway for the BMF. All of that's gone now.
You don't think the McGregor fight is still on the table for him?
I don't think McGregor ever comes back. So where does Chandler go from here? Because what is he, 36, 37 now?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he has more
38.
losses than wins in the UFC now. I'm pretty sure. I don't know
Might
the
do.
exact numbers,
Yeah.
but if it's not, it's close. Where does he go from here?
It's
Becau-
hard.
Where
It's
does he go from here? I don't know who he fights.
Yeah,
Who does he fight?
it's hard because now that Holloway is a full-fledged ranked lightweight,
I say he goes up to 170, Chandler. He mentioned before the fight how he used to fight at 170. He's a big lightweight. He's got history at 170.
is he a big lightweight though?
But he mentioned it. If he can fight at 170.
Charles Oliveira looked like the bigger
Yeah,
lightweight.
he's
yesterday.
just short though. That's why people don't notice. But he's actually quite stocky.
I know, but
So
strength wise, you can't tell me Charles. Whenever you got him to the ground, and Chandler said, "Oh, this is the first time ever I gave up a round. I gave up the first round. What about the second, third, fourth?" He had no answer. Charles looked like the stronger, more savvy guy on the ground, right? So what do you think he would do at 170 against a strong wrestler, against a Usman or a Shafkat?
I just think
You get-
I think he's lost to too many people at lightweight. He's lost to Gaethje. He's lost to Poirier. He's lost to Oliveira.
and he was ranked 7.
He's in trouble. He's in trouble. He's not getting the Makachev fight.
No, he has to push for the Conor fight. He has to
But
push
the
for
thing
the.
is, Connor's not.
Dana said he'll
Connor's not fighting. This guy, he's going through a mad court case right now.
I know.
He is not fighting anytime soon. Not fighting anytime soon.
Dana's convinced that he's fighting 2025.
Dan Hooker's on the rise right now. Dan Hooker looks
Why
like
would
a
Dan?
contender.
Oh, because he lost to him.
But Dan Hooker lost to Chandler. Dan might want that win back.
Yeah, but he would
could-
look backwards in a
You
rankings.
could argue that's the only fight. What, in terms of what, looking backwards? Yeah, he's looking backwards.
Yeah, Chandler was ranked 7 yesterday.
Hooker's looking upwards. Hooker's looking maybe one more win and I get a title shot. So
Yeah, but who would Hooker fight though? Because Charles won't fight Hooker now.
I say Hooker fights at Gaethje.
Yeah.
That's the fight.
Or they make Dustin Gaethje again
Yeah, but I think Dustin Holloway is more likely to happen
for the BMF.
because they've got history. They've got history. Even though Dustin's got 2 wins on him, it was 2 wins when Holloway was a lot younger.
I mean, either or, to be honest.
Yeah.
Rematch Dustin Hooker. I mean, the first fight was an absolute madness. Either or, to be honest, the quartet of Gaethje, Poirier, Dan Hooker, like those, they could all fight each other like matchup wise. We'd all be down to watch it. Do you know what I'm trying to say? But back to Charles, back to Chandler.
He just has a decision now, Charles. Do you wait out, fight the winner of Islam Sarukian, or do you try and get a fight in between?
Dana White.
That's the question for me.
Dana White in the post-fight.
Because there's people that are available.
Yeah, Dana White in the post-fight press conference said, Charles, we're gonna fly him out from Brazil, and he'll be there frontline in LA in January, and he's next.
If it's a 1-round job for Makachev, which could happen, Makachev, he surprises me every time he fights. If it's a quick submission win,
I don't think it is.
or something like that. I
think Islam wins, but
I think it's a 5-round close fight. But let's just say somehow it's a quick win for Makachev. We could see them fight again just before Ramadan.
Yeah,
Because he's not fighting during Ramadan. And they don't. Do they do any big pay-per-views in, I don't know, May time? They may do, but it makes sense.
I
to
think
do the fight
I
June,
think,
July.
and also I think
International fight.
I
weeks,
gotta be
July time.
honest. I think if Islam beats Arman and then Charles again, there's nothing for him at 155. That would be the right time to challenge at 170.
Yeah.
So he would fight in January. He would fight, let's say, summer. And this is if Islam was super active, and then he would fight at the back end of the year or beginning of 2026 for the 170 belt. That would, for me, that would make sense. Especially Bilal is still champion right now. We don't know when that's going to be rescheduled, because here's the thing. Now it's not even an interim. Well, we can move on to this. Now that
fair play to
yeah, we'll get onto that. But Shafkat, now that that's not even an interim belt, or that's a number 1 contender fight, when is Shafkat could have a? I mean, it could be a. It's 5 rounds, so it could be a close fight.
Is it confirmed fight? I mean, yeah, it's main event. It has to be 5 rounds.
No, it's co-main. But
what's the main event then?
Pantoja Asakura.
Oh yeah.
But
that Asakura's making his debut, going straight into a title shot. They must rate him highly.
yeah,
for him to do
and he hasn't fought flyweight in like 8 years.
he's a bantamweight going down in weight. So there's a question mark there. Can he even make
They asked Dana that yesterday.
So
but
how
he
are you
was-
making him a main event if you're not even sure he can make
No,
flyweight?
they're sure because they were saying that he fights. He's not a real
Obviously, the
bantamweight.
obviously the Shavkat Ian Gary is a better fight. We can
Yeah.
both agree.
Yeah.
But of course, because he's got the belt, he has to go main event. But that is
Um,
that. I mean, let's talk on that. Shavkat Ian Gary.
If I'm Shafkat, Shafkat's a gamer and so is Ian Gary. But if I'm Shafkat, I go from title fight with Bilal headlining to a #1 contender fight. So I take a step back. Yeah. But that just shows that Shafkat feels that he beats anyone in this division, and that also shows that Ian Gary, as much
play, that's what I'm
as
saying.
much as
He gets all the
people
hate.
wanna, they don't like him, they don't like his antics, that he's not really likable in certain instances. Ian Gary is a certified gamer because and even Shafkat tweeted, he was like, Colby, all these guys, they didn't step up to the plate, even though Colby is fighting, but all these guys didn't step up. Leon, that's another thing.
Where's
What's
Leon
Leon?
Edwards at?
What
Leon
is
tweeted,
Leon Edwards
but
doing?
Leon tweeted, or I think it was Instagram. I mean, the UFC announced that they're going back to London, so he wants the main event night. It's not a pay-per-view. Firstly, it's a fight night, so he'd be taking a pay cut, possibly headlining a fight night card.
Yeah.
But now that Buckley's booked, now that Colby's booked, Ian Gary's booked with Shavkat.
Sean Brady.
Sean Brady against Leon Edwards, maybe.
Yeah. But like I said, and this is not usual from Leon Edwards because prior, I mean, he agreed to fight. Hamza, he agreed to fight. Short notice, whatever. But he didn't even put his name in the hat at all. And I'm convinced that the UFC, if Leon Edwards was like, yeah, I'll fight Shafkat, they would have made the interim.
But listen, where's Kamaru Usman in all of this?
He said it's not enough time.
But no, but like, who's gonna fight though? Because everybody's booked.
Jack Della.
But with Jack though, I mean, he had an issue with his. What is
No, he's healed now.
Is it all healed up now?
Yeah.
That's a good fight, to be fair.
Yeah.
That's a good fight.
And do you know what's wild?
Wow.
They wanted to do they wanted to get Carlos Prates involved.
Shavkat.
But he broke it. He went into the Magny fight with a broken foot.
Dana's like, heal up. We've got big plans for you.
Yo, Prates.
It's mental though. It's mental. Prates. I mean, we rate him. Obviously, we've been singing his praises for how long now? But the UFC brass, Dana, Hunter, they rate him as well. So the guy is insane. I mean, you could argue the UFC don't really do Rookie of the Year, but I don't know.
100% rookie.
100% Rookie of the Year, you could say this year.
100%. Just like Lopez was, last year into this year.
Uprising fighter, whatever they call it.
I mean, Prates.
That is Prates.
For Prates to be in conversation, the fact that Dana White was like, right, this main event dropped out. Would you fight Shavkat on short notice? Because that's basically what it would have been.
Yeah, he's just calling everyone up. Ian Gary put out a clip and how the fight was made, and then they just called him up and said, Shavkat's available. Are you going to fight him? Ian Gary was like, yeah,
it's very rare.
Fair play to Ian Gary as
yeah,
well.
it's very rare that we got two undefeated fighters going for a #1 contender spot.
You would never see this in boxing. Never.
Yeah.
Boxing, they'd both go their separate ways. They've got like 4 different belts, and then they'd never fight each other.
Yeah.
In MMA, you literally have to fight everybody. If you want to be the best, you cannot avoid anybody.
Yeah.
And Ian Gary knows eventually they're gonna fight him and Shavkat. So why not just get out of the way now? I think though 5 rounds favors Shavkat.
Yeah.
Because Shavkat obviously stops everybody. If it was a 3-rounder, you could argue Ian Gary has more of a chance. I'd say Shavkat is the favorite. I'd say Shavkat would win as well.
How do you think that fight, just as of today?
I think Shavkat would win, but I think Ian Gary will do better than a lot of people think. Because Ian Gary...
Do you think Shavkat should wrestle?
I think you could say at range, Ian Gary is the better striker at range. So I think Shavkat has to mix it up.
Yeah,
but then again, Shavkat can do it all. He can do it all. But Ian Gary's got the good takedown defense. He can grapple as well. We showed it against MVP. MVP obviously isn't the best grappler, but he showed he can switch it up and grapple as well. So it's not a walk in the park for Shavkat. You can't just say Shavkat was going to go in, out grapple him. Okay, I'm fighting a striker, take him down.
Like what he did with Wonderboy.
You can't just take Ian Gary down. He will show some resistance. He'll get back up. He'll stuff your takedown. So it's a tough fight for both, but you've got to give Shavkat the edge. Now that it's been announced that it's 5 rounds, especially, you have to give Shavkat.
I don't think Ian Gary loses stock unless obviously he gets brutally knocked out or whatever. But
this should be the first fight. The first fight where Shavkat gets taken to a decision. I always call Shavkat the Beterbiev.
You think this would go 25 minutes?
I call Shavkat the Beterbiev of MMA. We saw recently Beterbiev versus Bivol, first guy.
But they've trained together, like
what, Shavkat and
at Sanford MMA. So they've had training rounds together.
The fact that they've trained
sparring,
and Ian Gary is still confident to take the fight, you could say in the
Ian
the
Gary
sparring.
feels like he beats anyone at 170.
Bro, the guy's long. He's rangy. He's not.
You gotta
He's
respect
not a walk
it.
in the park.
You gotta respect it. And also just in terms of like, thing is, right? He was originally, and we'll get on to Colby and Buckley and the way it's been reshuffled. But when you look at it now, for Gary,
It's
is it a
clarity.
harder fight? Yes, but he's a co-main event. It's a number one contender fight. If he would have beat Buckley,
Yeah.
would it have been a number
That's
one
what I was about to
contender?
say. There's clarity now. Ian Gary knows with a win over Shavkat, he is almost guaranteed a title shot.
Yeah.
Guaranteed a title shot. So there's incentive to take this fight as well for the clarity. You're right. If he fought Buckley and he beats Buckley, which I think he would,
He would have needed one more.
Are you is that guaranteeing your
No,
title
no,
shot?
no.
Shavkat's still around. This he almost skips the not skips the queue, but
I think
he almost just he has a clear path.
there's
to the title
definitely
shot now.
pros for taking this fight.
100%. It's a tough fight, but you win this fight, you've got the fight against Bilal Muhammad.
Yeah, and like
it's
the
very
hype
good.
for it is way bigger.
It's good to see Colby back as well. You just mentioned it.
Well, I'm literally shocked.
Finally.
I'm literally shocked. Colby is fighting an upcoming contender. The last time he didn't fight for a title fight was when
and
a long time ago.
that's a free round.
Or even he fought a former champion in Woodley in the Apex, but just headlining an event against. I think he's like I can't remember what he is in the rankings, but Buckley's behind him, and this. I mean, Buckley must be like. Buckley, on the other hand, yeah, who's the bigger name? Colby's evidently the bigger name. So if he managed to, I don't know, knock out Colby Covington, that raises his profile more than if he beat Ian Gary. So it's a win-win situation for everyone here. I'm just surprised Colby actually took the fight. But the fight's in Florida. I think that played
Colby's at home basically.
headline in Tampa.
Yeah.
I think that definitely played in the negotiations for him. But that like you said, that's gonna give real clarity in terms of the 170-pound division. Obviously, you're gonna have. I wouldn't be surprised if Usman fights Jack Della maybe in Australia. That if they gave Usman, you know, that could be seen as a number one contender fight as well. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So I
The
think
welterweight division.
it's about
too many good fighters in that weight
who
class.
puts in the best performance and really puts them
But I
in
think,
the space.
But
by
I
themselves.
really think the winner of Ian Gary Shavkat will get the shot.
Well, Shavkat 100%.
Shavkat, but just on the basis of beating Shavkat, you've got to give Ian Gary the shot. If Ian Gary becomes the first man to beat Shavkat, who's the bogeyman of the UFC, forget welterweight, he's the boogeyman of the UFC.
Yeah.
The guy has a 100% finish rate. It's unheard of in MMA.
Yeah.
If Ian Gary can beat this guy, you have to give him the title shot.
And
you could even argue that win is better than, I mean, I don't want to say it, but that win over Shavkat, you could say is better than any of the other contenders' wins at welterweight.
I thought you were going to say any of Usman's wins.
No, not Usman. I'm just saying the other contenders. The other contenders are.
Oh,
in and around him.
100%.
Your
If he bought
Buckleys,
Shavkat, yeah, 100%.
that's a big win. And I rate Shavkat. That's the way you rate Lopez. Shavkat is for me.
I rate Shavkat as well.
Shavkat's my guy. Shavkat's he's the future.
Certified.
He's the future of MMA, in my opinion.
Certified. Another fighter that we should speak about, because I don't know. I said in a preview, bet your house on Bo Nickel,
yeah.
but I have to admit, he's still green, man. You're a bit more harsh than I am.
No. I just think, listen.
You said he's overrated.
No, I think he is a bit overrated. I'll be honest. Like, the way he's talking about, I'd beat this guy in 10 seconds. Bro, why didn't you beat my man in 10 seconds? Bro, he's talking about he said he'd beat Shara in 20 seconds. He'd beat Shavkat. He'd beat Chimaev in a round. Paul Craig. Come on, and he's getting booed out of the stadium. People,
It's not
the
good look.
arena. Come on, it's MSG. You're getting booed out of the arena.
Yeah.
Of course, he's a very good.
Do you know
wrestler.
what? I feel like
Come on, man.
this is kind of similar of when Paddy fought Gordon. Do you remember? And Paddy had a stinker, and not that Bo Nickel had a stinker to the point that he might have lost the fight because he won the fight convincingly.
But
right?
Paddy doesn't go into fight saying, "I'll beat this guy in 10 seconds." Paddy just says he'll beat anyone, but he doesn't. This guy goes on podcast and says, "I'm gonna beat this guy in 10 seconds. Yeah, I'll beat Chimaev in 1 round." Paul Craig, come on, you won every round.
Paul Craig looked humongous compared to him.
Yeah,
though.
he's a former light heavyweight. Paul Craig's a big guy.
But
Yeah,
I mean, he won the fight convincingly, but he didn't wrestle at all. No point did he wrestle. And his striking,
I just think it's because he has knockout wins, and he knows Paul Craig, his only chance of winning is on the mats. So he just tried to get a knockout win, but it was it wasn't a great showing, to be honest.
Did you see who called him out? Roman Dolidze.
Post-fight?
Yeah. I mean, I don't rate Dolidze super highly, but off yesterday, that would be his first ranked opponent. And you could see Dolidze causing him real problems. I can't lie. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So, Dana was kind of like, he's still green in the sport. He is, 6-0 or 7-0, whatever it is. But the way he's talking, right? The way he's talking is as if it's fast track. If he fought for the belt tomorrow, he would go win. Or at the very least, he's a top 5. According to him, he's a top 5
I don't think he ever becomes a champion. Some guys, you can just tell they'll become a champion. Look, compare the two, yeah? You've got Prates. You've got Bo Nickel. Polar opposites in terms of style, but very similar in terms of where they're at in their careers.
Though.
Because they're up and coming, though. They're up and coming.
But Prates is up and coming in the UFC.
Yeah, and...
do you know how many fights Prates has had?
No, you're right. In terms of MMA, Prates is probably
Experience.
more seasoned.
Yeah, 100%.
But in terms of like the hype behind them, Prates is similar hype.
No, Bo Nickel had more hype.
I can see Prates becoming a champion. I can see it. He's got the talent. He's got the it factor. Even you could say, okay, Bo's not a striker, though, he's a wrestler. But why don't you just take everyone down? Why didn't he just take Paul Craig down and just
at least
hold him
attempt.
down and ground and pound him? Because he used to come out and disrespect Khabib as well and say, "Oh, these guys are not my level wrestling." But Khabib and Chimaev, they go and they take everyone down. They don't care if you're a black belt. You could could be a look
at what Hamzat did to Whitaker. He didn't
look at what Makachev done to I always forget his name.
What fight?
Davi Ramos.
Yeah,
who's a demon on the ground, one of the best black belts to ever fight in the UFC.
What with Charles?
He took him down. Charles, the best
submission artist ever.
Submission artist in MMA, in the UFC. Most submission wins. Takes him down. These guys don't care if you're a black belt. That's how confident they are in their wrestling. Paul Craig, okay, he's a black belt. He's
to get booed, I can't lie. To get booed as the American
Take him
fighter,
down and strike and ground and pound. You got Trump watching you, bro. Trump's there, man.
Yeah, to get booed as the home fighter like that. Do you know what? It's a bit it's a bit like Ian Gary as well. It's the things that you say outside the octagon. It does play a factor. You can't say, "I'm this guy, I'm that guy."
No, but this is on another level, though. At least Ian Gary's fighting contenders, and he's looking at it. He
hasn't fought anyone.
Is this not Paul Craig's debut at middleweight?
No.
Or his second fight at middleweight?
Yeah,
he's new to the weight class. He left light heavyweight because he lost a few fights in a row. This is not a prime Paul Craig. This is not the Paul Craig.
He fought Baralho, which by the way, Baralho's not a joke.
Wait. So Baralho's last fight is a win against Paul Craig.
No, he fought Cannonier, the one before.
Cannonier, okay. Why doesn't Bo fight Cannonier?
You'd get murdered.
Why doesn't he do it though? Just do it. You say you'll beat Chimaev in a round. You say you beat Shara in 10
Does Bo
seconds.
Nickel beat Dolidze? And I don't rate, but I don't rate Dolidze.
When Adesanya was champion, what was Bo saying? I take him down, submit him.
Yeah.
Fight Cannonier. Cannonier's available, former contender, a guy that fought for the belt not too long ago. But if Bo's saying he'd take everyone down and submit them,
but Bo Nickel's not even in the rank. He's not even gonna get in the rankings after yesterday.
Where's Cannonier right now? Cannonier can't be too high. Cannonier's
definitely... He's not in the conversation.
He's not in the conversation. I'd say Cannonier's maybe 9, 10, 11, around that number. Bo's just outside top 15, you would say. Fight.
Nah, Cannonier's 8. Why would Cannonier want to fight?
But Cannonier's coming off a few losses now.
Yeah, but Bo Nickel doesn't warrant a place at 8.
I'm just going off what he's saying. I watch his podcast.
Shara Bullet is 14th now. Michelle Pereira. I mean, you want to talk about...
Okay, fair play. That's a better fight.
Michelle...
Let's see his wrestling in MMA, because Michelle good striker, not the best wrestler.
Anthony
Not the best wrestler. So let's see what Bo's all about when it comes to his grappling against
Jack Hermanson. Like, these are guys, like, he wouldn't be able to just steamroll
Jack
them.
Hermanson has a few good wins.
Anthony Hernandez,
Okay, let's see that. I want to see
Paulo
him.
Costa, Dalit say. So there's a few names.
That's what
If
we
he's
wanna
going to
see.
get a ranked opponent, I mean, if I'm him, to enter the top 15, I would love the Pereira fight, Michelle Pereira, or the Shower Bullet. But even so, he said he would steamroll Shower Bullet, and I don't know.
Just because you're an Olympic level wrestler or a very good wrestler, that does not always translate into MMA. In fact, I think Sambo translates much better into MMA than your American style of wrestling.
Yeah.
Because Sambo has strikes incorporated into it. These guys were grounding. You've got a strike on the ground doing when you're doing Sambo.
Yeah.
Just because you're an elite wrestler, that does not mean very few elite wrestlers can transfer over and make it work. You've got DC. I'm talking about American wrestlers. DC, Jones, Usman. Even though Usman wasn't the best wrestler growing up, Colby's transferred it over. Not everyone can do it. And just because you was a better wrestler than a certain person growing up or in wrestling, they could be a better wrestler than you in MMA. MMA is a completely different sport.
Yeah,
So
you have to factor in so much.
Come on, like, no attempts at all against Paul Craig.
And the
It's not a
thing
good
is,
look.
this was a big spot. Like, the only fights above him were Charles and John. Like, at MSG, like you said, Trump was there.
Trump was there.
And you're booed.
John
that-
Jones
that-
is the headliner. Go.
That hits your stock. So if I'm Bo Nickel, I'm in the lab. Forget about. Do you know what? Honestly, forget about fighting for maybe a solid couple months, right? And get in the lab, get your striking in order, and if you're that level of wrestler, you're taking down Paul Craig. It's as simple as that. You're taking down Paul Craig. Yeah, because if Hamzat fought Paul Craig yesterday, he's munching him. He's eating him. Yeah? So even though Paul Craig was a former 205er, he would go and
I guarantee
within
you,
a minute.
Hamza is taking him down. He does not care that he's a black belt. He's so confident in his wrestling and his top control.
Yeah.
He will smother him, ground and pound, and potentially take his back. I'm pretty sure Hamza has submitted black belts before.
Yeah.
Come on,
But as a whole, UFC 309, I'm just looking at the main card. There was
It
only
was-
one finish.
it was pretty lackluster. To be fair, the one guy we have to mention, Oban Elliott,
Yeah. Lovely finish.
Welsh fighter. He's a
when he
UK
goes like
fighter.
this, when he wins and stuff.
Very, very good performance. He's a welterweight. You know, we're talking about welterweight having a lot of contenders. He could possibly be one for the future. And
Mauricio Rufy from the Fighting Nerds.
Yeah.
I mean, he fought some. I can't say his name. James Leontop on short notice. Leontop, I'll call him that. Zombie. He ate some smacks. Even like there was a look away left hook. I don't know if you remember, but he was just like boom. And Mauricio Rufy, they say he's the best fighting nerd. So
and there's a lot of good fighters. Out
there's
camp as
Prates,
well.
Borralho,
yeah.
Gene Silva. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So they've got real. They're all undefeated. No one's lost in there.
You could say Baralo will probably get that loss soon. Prates, I don't really see it anytime soon.
He might have to slow down in the ciggies.
Slow down with the blems.
Like 8 to 10 ciggies.
Yeah, what did he say? He went on Ariel, innit? He told Ariel he takes
8 to
six
10.
a day.
8 to 10.
8 to 10. He needs to relax.
But fighting Magni on a broken foot and knocking him out, like, do you know what I'm trying to say? But big up Prates, man. Like, I'm happy the UFC's, they're in line. On the prelims, Jonathan Martinez as well. He fought Aldo before that. And he fought Marcus McGee. Solid fight. Marcus McGee is a solid fighter. I don't know how he makes 135. He's huge. Jim Miller.
Yeah.
Jim Miller as well.
Yeah.
He jumped the
This
guillotine.
guy's been fighting how many years now?
He wants to get to 50 UFC. Do you know how mad that is? 50 UFC
Just
fights.
off that, I mean, he's already Hall of Famer, but just off that.
Of course.
Just off that.
He's at 45. And the thing is, Bobby Green nearly killed him. And now he's come back. And to be fair, like, Damon Jackson, he retired, obviously, but I mean, I remember Ilya Topuria, like, his knockout against Damon Jackson. Oh, it was a nasty one. David Onama against Romero. Romero coming in.
Onama's a talent.
But Romero coming in on short notice as well, especially in the first round, hurt him.
Yeah.
Big up him. Definitely needs to get another go in the UFC. And Tybura as well.
Tybura's been around for how long now? He's I remember
That
his
was a
fight.
weird stoppage though.
Yeah.
Like, they let him get back to the stool, and then the doctor was like, "Nah, you're too concussed." So yeah,
What's the next card?
the next card is oh
Mm.
Peter Yan Figueiredo.
That's a good
Cracker.
fight. That's a good fight.
That is and it's on Chinese time.
And you could argue, that's a number one contender fight.
It's
If they don't give, I mean, isn't Usman fighting? Not Usman. Umar Nurmagomedov. Is he not fighting Song Yadong?
that's not no.
Has that
That's
been booked, or was that just
no,
rumors?
no. That was rumors.
So you could say Umar's gonna get the title shot.
Oi, oi. You're
Bantamweight, that's my weight class, man.
on that card. Uzdemir Olberg.
Olberg hasn't fought in how long? Olberg was scheduled to fight how many times now, and he pulled out with injury.
Yeah.
Olberg's a problem. 'Cause
Uzdemir's on a run though.
he's got that touch of death, Olberg.
Yeah, but
Where he
Uzdemir,
doesn't even. I know,
the way he knocked out Johnny
I know,
Walker.
but he's chinny though. He's chinny. He's chinny.
You would favor
Ozdemir's a
Olberg.
bit chinny. I'd favor Olberg. But there was news that came out recently as well. I don't know if you saw it, but Nick Diaz pulled out again.
Yeah, I mean
Appar-
that video he just looked
Apparently
out
there was
of
a
it.
video came out and
He
he
just looked- he
yeah,
looked
I don't
high.
know what's up.
Yeah,
But I think that's him done. I don't think we see him
Yeah, I
again.
don't
It's
think
sad
he
as well
fights.
because I've always been a big
and
Diaz
it's
fan.
I mean Luke's done the Chandler. He's just waiting around like, bro, just fight someone.
But
well,
does
to
he-
be
does he
fair,
not- does he not have brain damage though, Luke?
yeah, but
or
he's
has that been
been
sorted
clear.
out?
Yeah, it's been clear. To be fair, talking to a matchup, Prates Luke, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
That's a
Who would you favor quickly between Yan and Figueiredo?
you know
Just quickly.
what? Figueiredo, I rate him highly.
I would. Yeah.
You know, I could see
When's the last
Figueiredo
time
winning.
Yan fought? It was against Song, no?
That's the thing. It's a bit of a blur when last time Yan fought.
No, I think it was. I'll check.
What
I
does
think it
say
was
there?
Song Yadong, no? Yeah, Song Yadong, UFC 299. So he last fought in March.
Mm.
So he's fought this year. I remember that fight. Song Yadong was
You
really
know,
good in the first round.
I'd say, you know what?
I would favor Yan probably.
I would favor Yan, but don't be surprised if Figueiredo pulls out the bag. It's the main event, isn't it?
Yeah.
So 5 rounds. Figueiredo, we've seen him go 5 rounds. That's not a problem at all.
And
Petr Yan, where is he at in his career? I mean, technically, I'd still say he's the best boxer or one of the best boxers in the UFC. Technically, but it's about.
I mean,
don't
to
know with Yan, man.
be.
It depends on what Yan shows up.
Yeah.
If the Yan that was a champion shows up, then it's a tough night for Figueiredo.
To beat Song Yadong and then Figueiredo back to back, there's real conversations that he should be back
For
in
the
the
belt,
mix
yeah,
for the belt.
100%.
Who else?
Bantamweight has so many contenders.
Lorna Kavanagh from the UK. He's fighting on that card as well. So, and I think it's good timing for us. It's Chinese time, so I think they're accommodating.
Should be in the afternoon.
Yeah, it should be during the
Evening,
day and stuff.
evening,
It's on my birthday actually, so that's perfect. And quickly before we wrap up as well, just need to talk about the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight.
Yeah, listen, that was a disgrace. On all we joke around sometimes, but for a 58-year-old man to be getting in a ring with a 27-year-old who's in who's in his prime as a man, is a disgrace. You know.
What was with the biting on the glove?
Yeah, I don't know what. Apparently, he's got a biting thing, but it could just be old age, and he's just doing. You don't know, bro. If you get smacked in the head a few times, you do weird things. But what it is, I don't want to say fair play to Jake Paul because he shouldn't have fought him in the first place.
But should he have finished him?
But fair
Dana
play
White-
for not finishing him because
What do you mean?
there was a moment where he landed 3 left hooks back to back, and you could see Mike was if he just put the foot on the gas, he could have stopped him.
So you feel
So
like
I feel like-
you feel like he didn't put his foot on the
He
gas?
didn't because he knows the backlash he would get for knocking
Yeah,
out
but then people
Mike
could be like, you
Tyson.
couldn't even finish a
Nah,
58-year-old.
anyone who knows fighting knows that he took his foot.
Well,
off the gas there.
Dana White in a post-fight press conference, they asked him, and he was like, Mike Tyson was right. He told Dana that he was never gonna get finished by Jake Paul. There's no way.
Dana hates.
So
Jake
everyone
Paul.
got a bag.
No, but Dana hates Jake Paul.
Yeah.
Dana hates him. Dana hates the guy. It's funny as well. Jake after the fight is saying, "I want to fight McGregor in MMA." That would never happen because McGregor's tied down on the UFC contract. He's got 2 fights left on his contract. He's in that slave contract. It's the same with GSP, where GSP was still under contract when he fought Bisping, even though he hadn't fought in UFC for how many years. He's in one of those slave contracts with the UFC, so that fight would never happen. Plus, Jake Paul has a deal with the PFL. Dana does not rate the PFL. We're never going to see.
Nah.
We're never going to see a UFC PFL collab. So that fight's never going to happen. It's just Jake Paul being smart because he knows it will never happen in MMA, and he knows McGregor cannot fight out of his contract of boxing as well. So I don't know why he keeps calling out UFC fighters. That's not going to happen. But this fight, back to the fight, it's a disgrace of a fight. I don't want to see Mike Tyson fight again. And my criticism isn't just for Jake Paul. The people that trained Tyson need to be called out as well. I think it was Cordero who trains he was Werdum's trainer and trains Gastelum. But he's a disgrace as well, bro. Why are you training a 58-year-old man to go into a fight just for some money, like, because you're gonna make a few mil as a trainer or something like that? As a trainer,
what did you
you've
think?
got to have morals as well as a trainer.
What did you think about
could
it
have
being
been
on
bad
Netflix?
things. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, apparently it was a
The
bit
servers,
blurry.
the servers were moving
Yeah,
mad.
I was watching it, but not on Netflix. I can't disclose.
I
but
was
yeah.
watching. I was watching on
I don't
Netflix.
know. I mean, what's your thoughts? Are you the same as me? I thought it was a disgrace.
It is what it is. Took it with a pinch of salt. It was pretty apparent that Tyson wasn't going to do pretty much anything to Jake, and you're convinced that Jake didn't put
The 100%.
foot to the pedal.
100%. Because there was a moment where you remember where he landed 3 left hooks back to back. I think he landed a right hand straight after, and Tyson was hurt.
Yeah.
Tyson's footwork was non-existent. His feet are gone. If you just walked him down, you could have stopped him, but he didn't.
Yeah.
So not fair play, but he knows the backlash he would have gotten.
But I mean, it got a lot of viewers, and the Katie Taylor Serrano fight, that was another war.
Apparently, it's a robbery as well.
I definitely favored Serrano 100%. But I remember watching the first fight, and it was
It's
nuts.
funny. It's funny because you saw Eddie Hearn's reaction post-fight, the way he was jumping up and down. But recently, his fighter was on the end of a decision loss that he should have won. Bivol Beterbiev.
Yeah.
Everyone's saying Bivol won. Eddie come out post-fight as a disgrace. The same thing happens, but his fighter wins, and he's jumping up and down. So it just shows these promoters, they don't really care. Like, let's be real. It's when it favors them, because you can't be jumping up and down talking about robberies are a disgrace. It's ruining boxing, but act the way you acted when your fighter's on the end of a decision win when they shouldn't have won. So it's just funny to see that from Eddie Hearn as well.
I'm interested to see if there's going to be more fights on Netflix or Amazon Prime or whatnot. I feel like it was probably a success, even though, the fight itself, it is what it was. But, as a whole, what would you rate UFC 309? Quickly. I feel like the main cards...
I say that...
We didn't even talk about the women's fight on that one. It was a bit lackluster as well.
I'd say it was a 6 out of 10. 6.5 out of 10.
John Jones getting the finish was not the one that I expected to be.
I'd say because of Jones, 7 out of 10.
And Charles. The Charles Chandler fight.
Yeah, those two fights, 7 out of 10.
But that was it. I mean, Charles got another fight of the night bonus, and that's over $1 million in bonuses in his career.
Wow.
Like, that's... whenever he does his Hall of Fame speech, the fact that you got $1 million and more...
Most submission wins, was it? How many times did he defend the belt? What, 3 times?
Well, the Gaethje one, but and he's never had trouble with weight since.
No.
That don't get me started on that. But anyways, we'll wrap it up here. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to this video. If you're listening on any audio platforms, make sure to download the episode and check us out on our social media platforms. All the clips from this episode will be on the TikTok and the Instagram account at Punches and Pundits. Peace out.